I think 2021 will be the year I look back at and think, girl, you did good. You learned a lot, you pushed through, but most importantly, you started to prioritize recharging, resting, and actually feeling good. So today, I want to share 6 things that I do to feel better physically, mentally, and emotionally. Okay, let me get cozy. I miss this. You know, I say this, I feel like now in every single video, or at least in my latest few videos, but the reason for that is because now I make a video every 2 weeks, not every week. And so I'm doing this more rarely, which means I miss it way more. But enough blah blah. Let's get into today's video. We all just want to feel good, right? We're all just looking into ways how to spend our days, our weeks, our months, our years in just a happy way and feel peaceful and feel good. So I thought, why not share something that I have been going through, which is learning how to kind of push myself back up in moments that are full of stress or full of anxiety. So without further ado, let's get into the first thing. I have my tea. I feel cozy. I feel like let's chat. Let's just chat about life. That's my favorite thing in videos, is to feel like I'm just chatting with a friend, and that's my whole purpose. So if at any point you feel like you heard something interesting or you want to continue this discussion, feel free to comment down below. Also, if you find anything you like, I don't know, what is this movement? Press that like button and hit subscribe to hear more me talking about different topics of life. Okay, I promise. Now we're actually getting into the video. Let's start. So the first thing, let me take a sip. I'm so sorry. I'm really starting in like 1 second. I love this tea. So the first thing that I do to feel better is breathe. I know you've heard it a lot, and some of you might feel like, oh, that's a good one. And some of you might think, what else is new? I know, but the truth is in the basics. At least that's what I've found, and I've said this many times. When we're stressed, when something worries us, when we're not happy, we tend to not breathe. Obviously, I don't mean like we get no oxygen, because then we would die, but we tend to have shallow breaths, or we tend to have fast breaths. And what you actually need in those moments is to get more oxygen to your brain so you can calm down and see things more clearly. If I find myself in a moment where it's just too much, I literally just go like this. Simple as that. I take a deep breath. I take it 5, maybe 10 times. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that breathing alone is gonna fix your world and fix all the problems. But what often happens is that from that place, once you've taken those breaths, you physically kind of feel like you've settled down a little bit, and then you can use your brain to come up with a solution that you kind of need in that situation. So that's definitely the first thing that I have implemented in my life in many different situations. Now, even when I'm happy, I just remember that breathing is important. Even when I was writing the script for this video, like the points that I want to talk about, I remembered about breathing. So I just started to breathe, and the truth is in the basics. I think the whole saying comes from our human body has the basic principles that it needs to live. And one of those principles is having oxygen and breathing. So definitely recommend that to any human and animal and everyone. Yeah. Why can't I never keep it serious? I always have to me. Anyways, the second thing, please don't come at me for this one. I know it's we've heard it so much, you kind of want to punch people in their faces, but the second one is drink water. I'm not gonna go into the physical fundamental benefits that water has. We all know that. I kind of want to talk about the psychological aspect of it and also how it plays out in your daily life. I don't know about you, but when I'm kind of into my work, and obviously when I'm stressed, I forget to drink water. Very honestly, I just forget to do it. Sometimes I've had days where I kind of, in the evening go, through the whole day, and I understand that I haven't even had like a glass of water. Like, I've just been so focused. And when you don't have enough water in your system, not only you're physically dehydrated, but mentally, at least I've felt this way, you feel more anxious. Like, you're just thirsty and dry physically, and you're like, ah. And somehow sitting down, and I actually combine this with the first point, breathing and drinking water. I'm actually drinking tea now, but breathing and drinking water is like a ritual. It's like, meditation. And actually, now that I mentioned my tea, I feel like that's the same thing with tea. Sometimes when you're stressed, you sit down and you drink your tea. It's the ritual. Again, I think it's the breathing, it's the warm liquid. It's kind of like a mental process as well. So that's the second thing I've found. Just sitting down and drinking water makes me feel better mentally as well, not just physically. Obviously, the physical aspect is there. It's water, but it calms me down. Yeah, it sounds like a ritual because I think there's something to it. Yeah. The third thing that I do when I feel really, really bad, when I feel like everything seems gloomy and dark, I try to rest my mind. Now, the reason why I say try is because usually if you are anxious or if you suffer from anxiety, you probably feel like your mind is on a run, like on a constant run, and you can't switch it off. So what I do is I find things that take my mind off other things. So for example, I watch a movie that I really, really love. I read something or I go for a walk. What I like to do is literally do things that make my mind think about something else. And that actually rests me. And this is why I said watch a movie or watch a TV show. It rests my mind, especially if it's an easy movie or a comfort movie, right? We all have comfort TV shows and comfort movies or sitcoms. They just make us feel good. So I rest my mind by making my mind think of something else. Now, when I switch my mind and recharge a little bit, then after that, I can, switch it off even more. And it's kind of like, a ladder. I start with not, straight to the point. If I'm stressed, then I need to just stop thinking because that doesn't work. But, I start to think about something else, and then it kind of eases down a little bit. And then I can get to a point where I try to switch it off completely. And then I can go for that walk, or then I can meditate. If my mind is on like a roll, I find that the best thing to do is to think of something else or watch something, and that way making yourself rest a little bit. The fourth thing is talking it out. I don't necessarily think that it's important to talk it out with someone else, although it is very useful and it's wonderful, and finding a support system in general is great. But somehow I found that it's the talking out process that is very soothing. I write in my journal, I've said this many times, I write my thoughts, I talk to myself out loud all the time. I used to think that it's weird, but now I'm like, first of all, I feel like a lot of people do it, and second of all, I don't really care. I like to talk out loud. I do this all the time. And I found that the process itself of putting things out of your head and talking it out with yourself is just really, really great. Plus, I feel like that way I learn to soothe myself, and I'm not as dependent on other people to soothe me. Obviously, I still, always go to Gus if I'm sad. I talk with him and he supports me. But there's something completely different. There's something kind of maybe on a deeper level, when you learn how to talk with yourself like you would talk with another person and you would support that person. So for example, I go to myself, I talk with myself and I say, I'm mad or sad or this, drives me crazy. And I automatically turn on the wise Ilva, or the Ilva that is kind of from the side, or is looking at the situation from the side. And she gives me these responses, because here's the thing, very, very often we have the answers inside. Sometimes we don't, but in a lot of situations we do. We just can't access them. Like, what do you think therapists often do? They just ask the right questions and then you come up with those answers. If you feel like you're not there, then obviously, having a therapist or having a person to talk to, having a friend or, your partner is amazing. And as I said, again, I do that a lot, but just this process of talking with yourself through writing, through physical talking is very, very soothing. And I really recommend it to anyone who kind of wants to practice this process of reflection. Ask yourself a question, in those anxiety-filled moments, and try to imagine that there's another part of you, the logical part, the loving part, and answer it through that person and just see what happens. This actually takes me to the fifth thing, which is saying encouraging and loving things to myself. You know how people say that we are our best friend and our worst enemy at the same time? It all just depends how we talk to ourselves and how we treat ourselves. And I couldn't agree more. I can be not only my worst enemy, I can be a bully to myself, I can be like the devil to myself, I can be a destructor, I don't know if that's a word, but I can be self-destructive, and I have the same power to be like, my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, my best friend, and everything else. This is why it's important to pay attention to the things that you say to yourself. I have a tendency, if I feel bad, if I feel like I've had a hard day, I've had a challenging period, I can be rough on myself. Or actually, I want to say that I used to be rough on myself, because I've changed this a lot and I'm really, really proud of that. In difficult moments, I used to be like, see, you can't do it. You're like this and you're dumb, and you're like, I used to be horrible. But now, when I have difficult moments, the top thing that I've started to say to myself is, you're doing your best and you're doing great and you're wonderful and you're strong and you can do it. And again, I do not ever want to sit here and say that do this one thing and it's a miracle and it's this magic pill. It's not how it works, but you put all these things together and they do assist you. They do actually help you, or at least they do for me. But this is one of those things. I immediately feel like, not like, oh, okay, everything is great when I say those positive things, but I feel stronger. I feel like I can take on the day. I feel like, you know what? Yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I'm doing the best I can. You might not feel, immediately better once you say those encouraging things, because often if you're doing it for the first 10 times, you don't quite believe that. But the more you do it, it starts to show up in the rest of your, daily life. For example, when I started to say those encouraging things, I feel like started to kind of climb into my subconscious. And now sometimes I, walk around the house or do something and I catch myself subconsciously saying good things to myself. And I truly, truly believe that it's because of those hard moments where I push myself to not say bad stuff to myself. And the last thing I do to make myself feel better in all the aspects that I mentioned is yoga. I can't even explain how much yoga has changed the way I feel. I sound weird when I say that. I hate when people are like, oh, yoga. I don't know why, but I feel like there's a lot of stigma and stereotypes around, the whole yoga thing. But I can only speak from my experience. I started to do yoga because I kind of messed up my knee a little bit from running. I did a lot of things not the way that you should do them. So I started to do yoga because I felt like I need to heal, I need to strengthen my body. I also wanted to kind of stretch because, you know, I've heard and now I know that the more you stretch, the more kind of elasticity you have in your body, the healthier you can be. So I started to do it just because of that. And not only did I fall in love in kind of strengthening through slowness, if that makes sense. Like, it's such a weird concept that I just said, but I feel like it's correct. Like, yoga is taking things slow while building strength in your mind, you know, emotionally and physically. I used to have a lot of back pain, I still do, neck pain, often from stress, from working by the computer like this all day. And yoga is literally the only thing that takes that pain away. Obviously, I have to say it's also about the teacher. I do not want to sit here and say that it's the yoga itself. I feel like it's finding the teacher that you connect with. I love yoga with Adriene. I love her. I love her whole silliness. I love Benji. I love her kind of approach to your body being connected with your mind, with just everything. And I connect with her. So with every practice that I do, I not only physically strengthen my body, because if you've actually done yoga, you know that it's not just stretching, it's actually working your muscles. So I not only do that, but I stretch them out. I feel ease, like actual, like just comfortable feeling in like my whole body. But I also feel emotionally better. I feel like my mind is actually not thinking about anything else than the yoga practice. I emotionally calm down, I mentally calm down. I love it so much. This is why I left it as the last point. I feel like I had to do a little bit of a rant. It has really changed my kind of daily life, and it's also pretty cool to see how you can do some poses better, or when you see that you can do them at all, because there were some poses I couldn't do at the start. So that's it. These were the 6 things that I do to feel better. I breathe, I drink water, I talk it out with myself or someone else. I rest my mind. I allow myself to rest. This is so important, especially for those of you who think that work is everything. I see you. By the way, it's not. I know you might not agree. I don't agree either, but work is not everything. You also need to rest. I say encouraging things to myself, and I do yoga. Yoga helps me, it strengthens my body, it makes me just relax and be present, and I love it. So that's about it, guys. I hope you like this video. I love to chat with you. I hope, but I know, I don't hope. I know that in some near future, maybe a little bit further, I will restart doing one video per week, but as of now I'm doing 1 video per 2 weeks. But I loved being back and I love to chat with you. Let me know in the comments what you found interesting about the things that I said, or did you agree, did you not agree, would you add something else? And also tell me what makes you feel better. I want to hear some tips. You know, I'm always looking for new ways to make my life more beautiful. So let me know. Also, like this video and subscribe to this channel to just hear more of me. That doesn't sound like a big promo for myself, but that's basically what this channel is. I share my thoughts on just living better and more happier, and literally just talk about anything that I want to talk about. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for devoting your time, and I will see you next time.